I have one FSD related question. Would it be possible for us to get access to some folks to give narrative feedback from the experience we're having? Because some of us drive a shit ton of miles cross country. Some of us drove out to Texas and back. And there's things that we saw that there's no button or email I could possibly send to say, hey, here's the issues we're seeing. Here's how they're breaking down. And more importantly, here's how they're breaking down across contexts, right? Like if there was any way if it would be helpful. If it's not, then no worries. But if there's a way to give that narrative feedback to somebody, I think it might help.
I mean, our goal right now is to get to zero interventions in point-to-point drives in cities.
Yeah.
So the polish is less important than solving for zero intervention point-to-point drives in cities. The sheer amount of work required to do this boggles the mind.
Yeah.
And to the best of my knowledge, I asked the team, like, do we know of anyone who is even trying to follow in our footsteps? We don't know of anyone. Maybe there is someone, but I've seen a lot of tough technology problems, and solving real-world AI such that a car can drive itself is one of the hardest problems I've ever seen. And it is way harder than I originally thought, by far. So
what would you say to the people that have said, for several years, you've said it'll be this year, it'll be next year? What would you say to those people?
it'll be this year.
Perfect.
We got it.
Put that out.
That'll be a great quote for 6 months.
Yeah, no, I think it's still tracking for this year.
But as far as I'm going more for like the.
Why was I overly optimistic in the past? Yeah. I did not understand the scope of the problem.
And you feel you do now?
Yeah. I mean it's very easy to get close to it working, and where it feels like it's just, all right there, just a little further, and it's like the donkey with the carrot over your head. And it's like, oh, that's right. Just keep, just pull the cart a bit further and faster. Pull the cart faster. Maybe that carrot's going to come closer. So frankly, having radar and ultrasonics was a mistake. Radar especially, because radar it allows you to get close to solving it and solve it most of the time, except when you can't lock the radar and the visual neural net. Like radar and vision disagree. Which one is right? Mm-hmm. And so you basically have to get rid of the radar. And once we got rid of the radar, which by the way was initially strongly opposed by the autopilot team, and now nobody wants the radar back. Is that right? Yeah. I had to lay down the law and say, like, that radar's coming out, man.
Yeah.
You can't. That radar is a crutch, and if you're carrying that crutch, you can't run. So, radar would the signal, the radar was contributing more noise than signal at the end of the day. So it's not that it wasn't contributing signal, but it was more noise than signal, and so that's it had to be removed. And once radar was removed, then it became clear that actually our neural nets are much worse than we think they are. So they were being helped by radar too much. So now just having to use vision. You can't hide behind anything. The vision has to work. The neural net vision has to work. And then there was quite a profound change to go from bag of points neural net to having a neural net interpret that bag of points to figure out what a lane center is. Because previously we were doing that all in C. So, I mean, the neural net architecture is insanely complicated at this point. It's like, that's a lot of layers. And then it'll turn out, oh, actually we need to delete this layer, put this layer on. And we've re-architected the neural net so many times.
Here's a question I've kind of had from the outside. It's like, it seems like Tesla has like one general autopilot team. Why not have two compete against each other? You did it with Boca Chica and Florida. Why not have one that still has radar and all the old data points and a separate team and make them compete?
think the team does not lack for motivation level or work ethic. They work super hard, and the Tesla Autopilot sort of software AI team is like the best software team I've ever worked with. I'm a harsh judge of technical skill, and they are outstanding. It took a while for us to get there. We had a lot of false starts with the Autopilot team. And there's like, in Silicon Valley, there's like, I don't know, like 12 people who say they're responsible for Autopilot, but they're not.
Some generally good people on that team too. I still hang out with some of them, golf with some of them, ski with some of them. Good people. Not often. They don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
He's like, wait, don't worry about vacation. He's like,
Don't mention any names.
The talent level of the Autopilot team is I mean, they're just extremely good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's at the end of the day, like the streets were designed for eyes and biological neural nets. That's what the entire road system was designed for. So therefore, it makes perfect sense, frankly, that cameras and digital neural nets are required to solve self-driving. You basically have to repeat what the humans do, but in silicon. And nothing else will actually solve it. So, I mean, Tesla's actually, going to be in a situation where Tesla has a self-driving solution and no one else is even close, not even for 5 years.
Licensing?
Yeah. Yeah, sure, absolutely. We're not going to stop people from doing it. But they will, it will need to slap them in the face, like, baff. Not like, hey, we think, like, it has to be taking sales away from them.
Oh, it'll take sales away from Uber, it'll take sales away from everything.
So
it'll be very clear once it's actually delivered, it'll be very clear that this is the way. Everyone will know in that moment, within a month, this is the way, if they don't already know.
I mean, anyone who has the that you guys have the beta, you've seen the trajectory of improvement.
Yep.
It's very clearly going to achieve full self-driving.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just a question of there's some debate about when.
When, yeah.
But if you say, like, what is the rate of improvement per unit time?
Yeah.
You can say this is clearly going to get to a point where it's much safer than human.
Yeah.
And it's not far.
Is how do those, basically there is that point when you cross and it feels as if we are kind of slowing the progression, and I want to know that it crosses. No. Oh, okay.
So the thing that's like sort of hard to appreciate from sort of outside the company is that we'll re-architect the neural net, like, for the 1,000th time, I mean, man, that's like the things that I like that take up the most amount of brain space for me are working on self-driving and getting Starship to orbit. Those are the two things that take up, like, I don't know, 70% of my brain space, like something like that. Those two things. And then there's other things that just don't require as much sort of brain CPU cycles, but like a lot of chores, basically. If I don't do my chores, then shit hits the fan, basically. I hate doing chores. Anyway, just like basically Autopilot is absorbing a massive amount of my brain cycles. That and getting Starship to orbit are two things that are overwhelmingly that a supermajority of brain cycles. So the reason that it like the say 12.1 or whatever didn't seem like it was that great was because we refactored so many of the neural nets. That like to the outside it seems like 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, and so it feels like the improvement is flat. But actually, a whole shit ton of like we just re-architected the neural net. So so we went from having like an A in a C architecture to having a C in an A architecture. But now you can improve.
More room to grow.
Yeah,
Got it.
Exactly. So there's still. We still don't have a unified vector space where all of the neural nets pour their output into a single agreed upon vector space for both fixed and moving objects. So
that's huge.
Yes, that's quite important because like if they disagree, like if the moving objects neural net, like currently they're really so fairly separate, the moving objects network and the static objects network. If they disagree on the position of a car, then like you could say, well, this car is in a non-drive space position because of a disagreement between the neural nets. And then if they're not running at the same frame rate, you can get a time error as well. And if cars are, moving at, I don't know, 30 meters per second or something, then and you have like a sort of 33, 34 millisecond error. Okay, like that car has now moved a lot, So it's moved a meter, So and a meter is a lot. Like if we're not colliding with something.
Speed is a ton.
Yeah, it can be like, is this car, like you're driving along, and let's say there's cars going in on opposite directions. If that car coming towards you is offset by a meter, that could be the difference between colliding or not. So and so there could even be like a slight time lag error, between one neural net and the next, and you can have an issue. So it's now in the limit, as these neural nets get very good, they will be much better than a human. So it will be able to drive better than James Bond could possibly drive. Fortunately, the threshold for succeeding is just being better than a human, and humans have really a lot of latency in jitter. so this it's like not actually all that high of a bar when you realize it. It's sort of like you think like elevator operators back in the day, and yeah, you can be an expert elevator operator, but you got to flip that relay and get the elevator and the floor to line up exactly. It's like you're not going to succeed nearly as much as the computer. So now anymore, if you did have an elevator operator with a big relay switch, you'd think that's pretty backwards, and you'd really prefer to have a button. That's how it will be with autopilot.
That's a good analogy.
Yes, like normal human drivers will be like an elevator operator.
That's a good analogy. Yeah.
And the precision of autopilot will be insane.
After hitting the no interventions on city streets, what's the next benchmark that comes after that? And I'm assuming it's on some number of miles, some number of drives happening, because like if we're saying true zero, then you've reached autonomy, right? Like true zero, absolute
it's
zero.
It's got to be extremely rare to have an intervention. I mean, driving from my friend's house to the factory today, I had no interventions, and actually Austin has, either in city streets or on the highway. So the one thing I say is like the speed that the car decides on was wrong. So I had to adjust speed several times.
Which, as I understand from feedback from the autopilot team, that is considered an intervention, right? Have you hit the pedal or accelerator? No, it's not.
No,
okay.
I'm talking about accelerator. I'm talking about
got it. Okay, cool. Gotcha. Go on.
The car's was generally going too slow.
Gotcha.
It's there's definitely going to be like a collision with reality here because just like the rolling stop in California, everyone does a rolling stop. Like who doesn't?
Yeah.
You practically get rear-ended if you don't.
Yep. Yeah,
so,
will.
Yeah, like there's no one at the there's like literally no one at the intersection, and you squeeze to a halt. What kind of weirdo is that? So but then technically that's against the law. So Nitsa got all up in arms about it and said, "Oh, you have to come to a full zero halt," and then because of some rule about like the speed, like you're allowed, you can never show the speed below what it really is, and so you have to err on the side of it being slightly above what it really is. Like so, sometimes it would show 1 mile an hour even for briefly, even though the wheel was stopped, because of NHTSA rules about speed. And then somebody sent in a complaint. So then we had to literally show a picture of the wheel, a video of the wheel while showing. See, it says 1 mile an hour, but that's because of your rules that make us round up to 1 mile an hour. But the wheel is not moving.
Oh my God!
Literally, so send them the video to prove that the car wheel is not moving, even though it says 1 mph, and that it says 1 mph because of their rules. So, we're getting a lot of sort of complaints and FUD and whatnot from competitors about autopilot because they have no answer to it. So, and they're not thrilled about the idea of licensing it from Tesla. That's not like, oh yeah, let's give our competitor a ton of money.
Yeah.
It's not the number one objective.
Because the value is just ridiculous.
Yes.
The value of a fully self-driving car is like we've never seen before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think everyone undervalues self-driving? It seems like the world doesn't really understand the value of it. Why is that?
Well, it's sort of like, I think if someone's never seen a unicorn or something, they're like,
Hasn't happened
they're
yet.
like, unicorns don't exist. It's just a horse with a horn on its head.
No big deal.
It's a magical creature. That's what basically self-driving sounds like. Some magical fiction thing to most people, until you actually use it, and then it blows your mind.
Yeah.
So now it wouldn't be that hard to use it. They could just like talk to someone who's in the beta program and sit in the car. Right
Car
out.
sharing.
Yeah, seriously. It wouldn't be that hard to figure it out, but they're not trying.
Yeah.
And so like they're all just thinking that no, self-driving is very far away. / they have invested in some solution that will solve it, which we want. No one is pursuing a pure vision AI approach to this, which also requires like a massive amount of labeling, like custom auto labeling software, a massive array of training computers. It's not just the in-car software; it's all of the training and labeling and debugging software that we all wrote. We wrote all that too, like it didn't exist.
Got it.
The sheer amount of software that Tesla's written, just in software tools and debugging, is insane. And being able taking the frames of video and like analyzing the frames of video and seeing this is where it got the error, and this is why then the auto labeling software needs to be corrected, and this. Like auto labeling is in and of itself a massive thing.
Yeah,
because
it's huge. Yeah,
and we have I think 1,500 human labelers.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, but they're amplified probably by a factor of 1,000 by the auto labeling.
Okay.
At least a factor of 100.
Wow.
So it's more like having 150,000 labelers.
Right. Exactly.
It's a lot.
Yeah. That's huge.
It is huge.
Yeah.
And the speed of the auto labeling means that, like the rate at which you can auto label, and then so when you auto label an entire video segment, that's like thousands of frames that get auto labeled, and then all the human has to do is like say, oh yes, that's correct, or nope, tweak that line slightly over. That's it. And then it corrects the auto labeler. And you feed that back into the auto labeling. Basically, you train the auto labeler to auto label, and then you have fewer and fewer errors over time.
Yeah.
And you trust that human was correct?
No, we don't. There's a lot of training examples, and you just trust that the error is
statistically.
Yes, that it's rare for the error to occur. But a number of the improvements have been us going through the auto labeling software and saying like, why is the probability of this thing not much higher than we think it should be? And there are a number of cases it's been because of a very serious mislabeling error. So then what the neural net will think is that the vast majority of the time the line is over there, but every now and again it's over here. And it's like, no, it's still over here. That was just a labeling error. So it actually tries to compensate for it's statistics. So it's like, oh, there's an old distribution, and there's a little hump over here. No, there's not a little hump over here. That's just mislabeling. delete. Oh, now everything's on. Now it works. So some of these like a significant mislabeling error, it can have quite a significant reduction in the effectiveness of the neural net.
Yeah, for sure.
One thing, so I was at Target literally yesterday, I was walking through the parking lot, and this old lady was backing up, of course wasn't looking out at all for me, and she almost hit me. And what I was going to say is that a lot of the people that are going to be saved from full self-driving won't know it, right? Whether it's my Tesla trying to dodge
Already
them.
true. Already
we were at Best Buy. We were going to Best Buy today.
Already way truer than people realize. By far.
A car
Bang that drum, Elon.
Yeah. Totally.
So it's crazy.
But no one will,
Yep.
Unsung.
I mean, when we started down that autopilot path, I was actually told, somebody said like, oh yeah, well, there's like somebody had said like, well, you're not going to be, you're going to get no praise for the whatever 90% of people you save, and you're going to be sued by the 10% of people you don't. So this is a thankless task. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it's like, but at the end of the day, I think we just have to put this before a jury and say, listen, you got to believe statistics here, because it's like the end. If this is like, I think highway safety is like an order of magnitude safer than people, and it's like these are not small numbers here. You just say objectively how many crashes were there. Oh, it's 10 times fewer. Okay, yep. So like then the company that massively reduces deaths and accidents should not be penalized for the few that do occur. That's like, that would be super messed up.
Until full autonomy safety it's going to happen.
Yep. Statistically, I mean, even with full autonomy, there's still like going to be a non-zero number of things, because this you're
a rock will fall. And...
Well, like you're still interacting with, like it's going to take a long time before the fleet is autonomous. So like when the fleet is autonomous, let's say at that point the problem like accidents will be insanely rare, like 100 times less or more than what they are right now. Yep. Like you just have to literally leap into traffic with no chance of the car avoiding you. Like it would have to be like practically a suicide, So when all the cars are autonomous, but for a long time there will be autonomous cars mixed in with 99-point-something% non-autonomous cars, and then that means people will do, will swerve across traffic. Like, so you go down a road and somebody, with a high-speed non-divided road, and a truck just drives into you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, like what are you supposed to do?
Can't avoid that.
But I mean, I think people also don't realize like just how many people are dying out there from, basically drivers falling asleep or whatever. I mean, JD's wife was killed by a truck driver that fell asleep.
I forgot about that. She was on a bike.
Bicycle, right?
She was on a bike.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a truck driver fell asleep.
Yeah.
The truck veered across the road and ran her over and killed her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if that truck had autopilot, it would have stayed in lane, and it would not, and should be alive today.
Wow, the irony of that.
Yeah. So, anyway, like either way, we're just gonna keep doing it. It's
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got to do it. It just take the heat.
I don't.
Well,
Go ahead.
one last thing. It won't take as much alpha waves or mind share, but a lot of people, a lot of fans and owners want to know about Apple Music.
You've been avoiding my question on that, so I stopped asking.
And what are we looking for here?
What is Apple?
Just another music.
Waypoints for the longest time.
Waypoints.
I have
Thank you
Apple
for
Music and I hate
waypoints.
it.
Thank you for waypoints. That
Oh,
was
thank you.
life-changing.
Thank you for
Yes,
watching.
thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Seriously.
Yeah, it could definitely be better.
Come on, man. It just takes
Seriously, we're gonna
I hated these. I'm sorry.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Sure. I mean, it
Waypoints.
should just like sync with your calendar, and you shouldn't have to type anything.
Yeah.
Cloud profiles.
I'd have to use my calendar for that to work.
For a while, we had the calendar sync working pretty well.
I
he's
just
saying-
don't. I'm joking.
He doesn't
I don't
use
even
the
use my
calendar.
calendar. That's a joke.
Yeah. For me, it's a hit and miss, but
Yeah, like for a while there, we had it working well. I think I haven't used it in a while, so but it should basically just automatically take you where you want to go without you having to say anything.
yeah.
And just look at your calendar and go based on that, essentially.
So Spotify, Tidal, amazing. Thank you.
Oh my God,
but-
sound quality in the new Model S when you actually connect it to Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
We did that right before the Cyber Rodeo. We were in a parking garage with Wi-Fi, and oh my God, really unlocked
That's
the
great.
audio.
Yeah, Tidal's great. I love it. Yeah, but a lot of fans don't have Tidal, but they do have Apple Music, so they've just been asking. So low on your priority list.
Like, are you talking about like the Apple's like car implementation? Or
No.
something? I don't know.
No,
What you say?
literally. So Spotify has a subscription that you can pay to like subscribe to it.
Yeah.
Apple has a Apple Music that you can subscribe
Oh, you mean just
to.
not through the phone, basically?
Yes.
Correct.
To the car. Yeah.
Through the car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you want to
So just to avoid Bluetooth.
yeah,
Correct.
exactly. Because then it's still manual.
Yeah. There's a fair amount of customers who use Apple Music versus Spotify. That's all.
It's true.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I use Apple. I actually am one of the rare people who I use Apple Music and Spotify, but I just use Spotify through Bluetooth. I mean, so I should use Apple Music through Bluetooth.
Oh, you do?
So if I play Apple Music, I just Bluetooth it.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
Doesn't bother you?
Sound quality?
I mean, the sound quality, it's like we can definitely improve the Bluetooth data rate if that's the bottleneck we're talking about.
I mean, that would make everyone happy, but not
Okay.
just the Apple Music lovers.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
They already
just
have
for
great sound
everybody.
systems.
But
I use Spotify, but I still do it through my phone because like that's just how I do my
Oh, you
music.
do?
In my house, I do it through my phone. So when I get out my Sonos at
Okay.
home, so I get in the car and it goes through.
Oh,
yeah, increased bandwidth.
Let me see if
That might
just-
solve
Just
everyone's
crank up
problem,
the.
From 16 to 32, make it happen.
You don't ever have any latency.
No, I'm just sorry. I'm just still in awe of like just
Still
this
a
whole
pinch
experience.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. You caught me one of those blank moments.
We already have waypoints, so I have no feature to request.
Car sharing.
Oh, I have one. I have
Just
one.
Sylvia note too.
I want to. I
want
want
to.
to. I want to go
increase
up on a
the.
starship one day, but who doesn't?
I have one. So, all right, I'm a peasant now with legacy I have a legacy P100D. So the blind spot camera, when you right click or when you use the blinker, it doesn't show up. So when you
side
reverse
repeater
though,
camera doesn't.
you know the repeater cameras, they would show up. They show up in you know all the new ones.
Anyways,
But I'm on the Legacy X. It's 2018 December
It shows up when you
production.
put the car in reverse. but not
Yes,
when
so
you use
it's
the-
already there. It's just it.
You talking about the feature on the 3 when you hit the blinker on, it'll show.
Yes,
up. Yeah,
exactly.
I know. I love that. I
Well,
got a rental and it
that-
got me.
I mean, Elon, you responded to me to do it, and then it just didn't get on my car. So it sucked.
Okay.
It seems like a small number of people, but a valuable
Yeah,
feature to
like
that
that's why
number.
I said I'm a peasant, but I'm not gonna. It's fine.
Buy a new
Well,
Tesla.
I mean, I'm not saying like our resource allocation is perfect, because it certainly isn't. But I mean, one just needs to stack rank the issues by like how much good will this do times number of people.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of long list of things. And pretty far down the list is like adding features to legacy products. 'Cause it just,
That's why I said I'm a peasant.
Yeah.
A different way of saying that is upgrade.
Oh come on! I got free lifetime supercharger, man.
It's just like it doesn't make sense
Yeah.
for future people to
Yeah, that makes sense.
like if there was like some factory that just produced great software engineers, like they could just order like I would need 100 great software engineers, then no problem. But there isn't.
Yeah.
Like there's a very small number of great software
Yeah,
engineers.
makes sense.
And a bunch of the ones that I know who are great got rich and stopped working.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
you probably know a few of those.
God damn it.
Yeah, I
That's why
do.
you're trying to bring the price down. No, stop leaving.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of very capable people, and once they got rich, they just stopped working.
Sure.
It's like it's their life, but they stopped coding, and they just I don't know what they do actually. Like a bunch of them say they invest in stuff, but there's I mean like there's a lot of really capable people
Yeah.
who are semi-retired that I know. So I'm just like the weirdo who's like I still working like a maniac because I'm just wired that way. So, but most people I know, they get past a certain amount of money, their amount of work they do is much less.
Well, and this is the interesting thing for this interview. I've never actually heard you say that, like, basically you're an existentialist. I've not heard you say that directly. I've always thought that. I actually basically was studying it in high school.
Yeah.
Right around the same time I discovered Tesla, and I was inspired, tied to that. And so it's just interesting that, like, I don't see you ever really retiring just because of the fire that is driving you to work right now. And
Yeah.
I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like trying to, just trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
No big
And-
deal.
Yeah, and then just like take the set of actions that are most likely to enable us to figure out what's going on and understand the universe. Yeah.
Just realized
Which I think I
if
don't
you're
know.
not an alien, I just realized that you're trying to become an alien. You're trying to pursue and find other life potentially. You're trying
He's
to
an
Yes, we're trying to be the aliens.
Yeah.
Trying to be the aliens.
Trying to
Yeah,
be
you
the
wanna
aliens.
be
He's an
the
alien. What are you
alien.
talking about?
Aliens the entire
Yeah.
time.
I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
At some point, yeah.
Yeah. Astronauts are kind of just aliens.
Yeah. I mean, it's very, the Fermi paradox is a profoundly important question. And there's a book that's like, I don't know, 50 answers to the Fermi paradox or something. Every now and again, they put out a new one when they can think of some other answers to the Fermi paradox. It's quite good. Because it's very troubling that we do not see signs of aliens.
Yeah.
Very, very troubling. Like, something doesn't add up. Why is the universe 13.8 billion years old, and we see no evidence of any alien visitation whatsoever, nor can we detect any signals or anything like that?
Yeah.
Nothing.
The only thing I can think is just time bound. We are the last one that's currently alive, and there may be future ones that become alive, or at least can be perceived as alive in the future.
Yeah.
Well, if you say, like, the universe is, like, say 13.8, go like basically 13,800 and something million years old.
And so when you talk about that instant,
well, if you even want to increment the third digit past decimal point, that would be 1 million years in the future, and our civilization, as measured since the start of writing, is 5,000 years old. So.
And given current birth rates too.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, I think.
So do you think we're alone?
It's like a million years would be 200 times the length of civilization.
Yeah.
What was that one?
Yeah. So do you think we're alone?
I'm simply stating I think we should adhere to the scientific method, which is that we have no evidence.
No evidence. Yeah.
Like,
This
there's
suggests we
nothing.
are.
Yeah.
Just nothing. There is nothing that we have no evidence of aliens life whatsoever. Nothing. Flat damn nothing.
Yeah.
No signals. No. Like, all it would have taken would be for, like, an alien civilization to put like a 1-inch cube of pure titanium. Like just a titanium cube. I'd be like, fucking aliens, man. Okay. Because they sure as hell didn't know how to refine, deoxidize, and create, like, a cube of pure titanium.
But what if that?
Or pure anything, pure nickel. How about that?
Wait, so in my mind, alien life will, if and when we find, especially the first one, will be more like a bacteria. We probably won't find human-like, able to modify the world around them. I think we'll find bacteria.
Yes, I think there's likely, like, if you look at Earth was just basically archaic bacteria for a very long time. Mm-hmm. And it was a huge thing to have mitochondria get incorporated into a cell, and then have that mitochondria also divide when the cell divides. Those are so gigantic.
Mm-hmm.
And you just can't have a complex organism, really, of any size unless you've got a little power plant with the mitochondria in your cell.
Yeah.
So, but the mitochondria is, like, basically seems to have been like some bacteria, archaic bacteria, that got captured and then essentially went into symbiosis with the thing. But then the crazy thing is, like, how does it replicate itself when the cell divides? The mitochondria must divide at the same time.
How did the mitochondria absorb that?
So there must have been, like, a crazy number of times where mitochondria was absorbed, but did not replicate itself when the cell did.
I think that's why I think we'll find bacteria, but I guess the follow-up question is, how would we even perceive that if it's further than our solar system? How do we perceive bacteria as life if it was outside our solar system? Because that's what gives me hope. Is that it's just so small or different that we just haven't yet been able to look far enough.
Yeah. Well, and I think generally we're looking for, like, life we can talk to, type of thing.
Does it matter if it's life versus life we can talk to?
Yeah, I mean, if we find a planet of trilobites, like, okay.
That's still incredible.
It's
You're
not incredible.
blown away
It's
by
cool. It's cool. Can't talk to them. Simple shell creatures.
Sorry for
It's incredible.
until I get
And they're
talk
probably
to them.
different, maybe
But that gives me hope for even more.
simple shell creatures. Be like, okay, we found a wide range of different simple shell creatures. Then I think, like, that seems quite likely, frankly.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, no, I mean, I say, like, probabilities, from a probability standpoint, I think that's likely.
Yeah.
It's like how many civilizations that you can actually talk to that are around at the same time as we are around. Those appears to be a vanishingly small number, maybe zero, that are in this galaxy. And we don't really know of a way to get to other galaxies with current physics.
Would you say, given potentially all the unknowns, what is your thoughts on there being like a creator?
You know, in general, I'm just saying, like if you're gonna aim for an evidence-based approach to existence, then you simply say, what is the evidence? And your conclusions should be probabilistic according to the evidence. So there's clearly some, like we don't know what the origins of the universe are. We don't know if this is this a simulation or are we somebody's video game? I mean, if you look at the progress of video games, going from simple blocks with Pong to, 3D, massively multiplayer, photorealistic video games in our lifetime, if that trend continues, video games will be indistinguishable from reality. So, I'm not saying we are video games, I'm simply saying that this is a remarkable situation we've witnessed.
You can still be at a single turn of civilization.
Yeah, I mean that's the wild thing, right? Is there's the history of it, finding
something caused the universe to come into being. There's like some uncaused cause, or like there's some originate. It's like it came from somewhere. It's a whole separate question as like is there some invisible creature or invisible deity judging our actions and deciding whether we're going to go to a good place or a bad place when we die? That doesn't seem to be the case. Or at least it's not clear what the rules are for, because then there'd be a lot of mass murderers and stuff that should have been, I don't know, not end up in a good place. So I don't know. It's hard to say. People get very defensive about religion because it's like, they'll sort of identify themselves by a particular religion.
I'll put out there, if you kind of drive yourself by existentialism, it's like replacing that for them.
Yeah.
It's replacing their purpose for being.
Well, it's certainly, it would be a change to say, like, let's pursue an expansion of consciousness in order to understand the nature of reality. Whereas if you say, no, I do understand the nature of reality because I believe in this religion or that religion, and that is my explanation for reality, which is how a lot of people would view things.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I mean, it's one doesn't want to get into a religious debate. It's just going to be a different path that people follow if they, take religion at face value versus take the position that we don't know what's going on and we want to find out what's going on.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a different set of actions.
And I guess what I'm saying is, like, religion lets people believe that they know what's going on already.
Yeah. I don't really have any issue with religion, provided that we just generally go in a direction that furthers consciousness.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, if a religion results in more people being created, and the atheists not having kids, then, well, it's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Fate loves irony.
Yeah.
That's
The only people around will be religious people.
pretty.
So, all right.
Okay.
You get a picture real quick?
Sure.